Well, hello there. It's Beards and Bangers, and I thought, given that it's now the new year, hopefully everyone's digested their turkey and drunk their champagne on New Year's, that we'd do a bit of a plan, a bit of a short-term and medium-term and long-term plan for 2025. So my first goal of 2025 is not car related, it's not YouTube related. Well, it kind of is, because the one thing I've got to do is lose some weight, because I'm getting a bit porky, and I have been doing since really the pandemic. So whereas most people took the opportunity to do lots of exercise, I took the opportunity to order as much food as I could on Ocado and consume that plus endless beer and wine on a daily basis. So whilst the COVID pandemic didn't really affect my mental health that much, it certainly affected my weight. So job number one is to go on a diet, and what I'm going to do with that is just really up my fruit and vegetable intake, lower my carbohydrate intake, and have a more moderate consumption of meat. And what it also does mean is that I can't have as much of my beloved beer, or no beer. Beer's out of the question for 2025 for me. So if we do meet up at these various things, I'll probably be having a glass of red wine, I'll be honest, but in moderation. So I think doing that is going to improve my physical health, which means I can do more with the cars. It's certainly going to be a lot easier. It will improve our mental health. You know, eating the right food has a massive impact on the body and the mind. So that's something I'm going to be doing. I will do the occasional blog on here about that, because I think it's important. I think, you know, I think a lot of my viewers are men of a similar age, so middle age, possibly a little bit overweight as well. And I think it's a good thing if we can all share these kind of tips. It's a really good thing. So look out for some content from me. I'm not going to be doing a weekly this is what I've been eating, this is now my weight. You'll see the progress hopefully when I'm making videos, because some of those full long body shots when I'm introducing a video or talking about a car, I'm like, good God, look at the size of that stomach. It really is enormous. So that's a really important thing for me to do. Starting on the 1st of January. Obviously you're watching this a few days later, so hopefully by then I will have eaten my own body weight in beans and lentils, and without making too much of a smell. But yeah, just be a bit more mindful about what I'm eating. Sugar is not a good thing. I am diabetic, but I can actually not get better, but I can become pre-diabetic or even not diabetic at all by losing weight. It really is that simple. So I'm going to get that done, and yeah, hopefully you'll see the progress. Hopefully it'll be successful. It's got to be. I've got to do it for my own health. You know, I want to do it so I can enjoy life and, you know, run around and do stuff and work on these cars without getting out of breath, which I know some of you have commented on. So that's really job number one, and that's got to take priority over anything else. Job number two, I'm sitting in the BMW just because it's really comfortable and quite warm. We've got a few decisions to make on the channel in terms of cars. I'll grab the camera and we'll have a little walk around some of the cars. This isn't a fleet update or a channel update. It really is a short, medium-term plan for the channel, which I will show you some of those things right now. Yeah, so the new daily is brilliant. Yeah, I've done quite a few miles on her since getting it. Him, rather. Mustn't call cars her, because they give trouble if they're called her. Not being sexist, but if I name a car with a female name, they just go wrong. So yes, I'm naming all my cars male names. Yeah, just need to oil service in about 4,000 miles. Yeah, there's an exhaust mount he's doing, so when you put it in sports mode and boot it, which this car likes doing, there's a bit of a vibration. There's also this seat panel. There's a couple of little, I guess there's little plastic screws that go in at the bottom. That means it pops out every now and again, which is a bit annoying. But other than that, it's fantastic. So yeah, obviously the work in progress is this car here. So I've just finished filming doing the sunroof drains. So yes, there's going to be some more action on this. Yeah, trying to get a series done on refreshing the interior. I'm also going to speak to a couple of exhaust people about sorting out the exhaust, because that thing's horrible. They're really good get me out of jail exhaust, the Cybox systems. They're cheap, stainless, they sound nice, but I just don't like them. They're droney on the motorway, and I don't really like the appearance of that sort of single pipe quite protruding out the back. If you remember back to the Husley days, yeah, I had this system on Husley initially, and then as soon as I got a decent exhaust with an oval tip that sat a lot farther in, it looked a lot better. But I think with this, because this is a rather special car, I think I want to go for a slash cut twin exit. So I've got a couple of exhaust people in mind. I'm going to try and stay local for it as well, because I don't want to be travelling too far. But yes, I'll get an exhaust. That'll be once the interior's done. Job number one is to get the interior finished off. So sunroof drains have been done. It's really just a question now getting the carpet out. So there'll be a video coming out, if not in the next few days, in the next couple of weeks, getting sort of stripping the interior even more, really stripping it to get the carpet out, which is going to be quite something. Parcel shelf as well. So yeah, and then it'll be new parcel shelf with sunblind, new pre-project drive carpet. Obviously, before we do any of that, we'll get a hose pipe on it for a few minutes just to make sure the sunroof drains are draining. Because the last thing I want to do is put a lovely new carpet in and it gets soaked, because that would be a hell of a shame, because a good carpet out of Gusley. Yeah, so that's that car. Then we've got the Kestrel, which will start in. I've got some friends, some other YouTube friends coming to the unit in a couple of weeks' time. So we may do some work on it. I'm suspecting the head gasket has gone, because as I showed you in a previous video, there was some nasty bubbly foam, looked like the head of a beer, same colour actually as real ale head, coming out of the radiator. So might have to do the head gasket, but it needs an oil service. We'll do an oil service and coolant flush first, see what's actually going on. It's a bit hard to tell because the oil seems okay, but if you drop the oil out and then inspect it, this thing's going to annoy me again. If you drop the oil out and inspect it, it's try and get this doing what it's supposed to do. There we are. Drop the oil out and inspect it, drop the coolant out and inspect it. You can tell a lot from that without starting doing compression tests and that kind of thing. If it does need head gasket, it's just whether I do it down here or whether I get it down to AJF, because the intention is to get this car MOT'd, because I'm not a fan of not MOTing cars, because this is when this has got the correct carburation. These are sort of 65, 70 brake horsepower cars, which in a little light car like this is quite a lot of power to weight. So you could do a lot of damage if you ran into them. So I think it's really important that these cars, we know they're safe. Yeah, but I'm excited about this first classic on the channel. Not my first classic. I've had classics before, minis especially. I was checking this little bulb thing, this little light thing I've got on top of my GoPro, light switching itself off, which it didn't used to do. So maybe it's just lack of use, I don't know. But yeah, but it's really nice. And I wasn't planning on getting an ADO 16, but Alex very kindly, this came up and he very kindly agreed to sell it to me. And I'm well pleased. I do like ADO 16s, and it's nice. Some of the comments I've had, Kestrel, the Riley Kestrel being the rarer one, trying to find an interior for it. It's got a Vanden Plas interior. Whether I can find a Riley Kestrel interior or not, I don't know. I'm suspecting it's going to be impossible, but I'll get my head into sort of the groups on this car. On these cars and start trying to make some acquaintances. I've joined the 1100 club already, so that's going to help as well. So yeah, another club I've joined, but club support, it's invaluable. It gives you access to forums, gives you access to people who've got way more experience than I've got with these cars, and yeah, it's invaluable. So, and it's good for the insurance as well. I know the BMW car club means insurance is a hell of a lot cheaper. That's Sam's Bitty under there. So, but because of the Kestrel, And what we'll show you in a moment, Biomorphic has got to go down the list a bit, so I'm just going to leave him sat there for a bit. I will get a cover on him. All that stuff on top is quite safe because there's bits of old headlining and various things protecting the roof. But yeah, I will come back to this car, but it's now going to be later this year, because this is my first monogram. I thought this would be my only monogram, but of course the Poseidon was unexpected, and then of course under this cover here we've got the ZS. So I will do a little bit of work on this fairly soon. I've got to work out what I'm doing with that rear door handle that popped off, which is a thing that happens with ZS's, and also need to do a Sheddist clutch kit and probably the belt, if I'm honest. Yeah, which means I've got to save up for 2 sets of belts, because I'm definitely going to do them on this car because there's no history, don't know when the belts were last done, and you don't want to ruin a KV6 because they're quite hard engines to find. Yeah, so yeah, Sheddist clutch kit, belts, service obviously, which you do at the same time as the belts. You have to, because you have to take the oil out to do the belts, and Sheddist clutch kits, belts, door handle, and then it's really about getting the paint sorted out at some point. But it's going to be an expensive year, so I've got to kind of plan and pace myself fairly carefully. Yeah, and of course, yeah, this was unexpected as well. So poor old Biomorphic, my first monogram, has been pushed down the queue by 2 other monograms. But this car doesn't need a lot doing to it. I hope that's just dirt. So I do need to get the, but obviously what I'll do is, once I've done the sunroof drains, washing it will be going back to this car, washing it will be the acid test of the sunroof drains, because it does need a wash. It needs a thorough wash and dry, and then once I've done the interior, it can be put under cover until, I guess, April. I'm thinking this will be the Pride of Longbridge car. It's probably my most reliable. Well, we'll see. We'll go and see another car in a moment. I'm thinking this is my most reliable MG Rover product, and it's probably not my favourite, but it's the most practical of the cars I've got. So yes, let's park the cars in the unit for now. There is one other vehicle out here which we haven't forgotten about, but this car is being broken, I'm afraid. The fuel pump has gone, and people have been saying, "Oh, you should be saving it for the sake of a fuel pump." Rover L series engine fuel pumps are very hard to find. But if you're buying a second-hand one, you're obviously taking a risk that's going to pack up as well. You can get them refurbished, but that costs £600. This van probably isn't worth that. I mean, they might be worth sort of 1,200–1,500 quid if they're pristine. We've already had some bits taken, so it looks fairly whole, but you can see there's already wheels. The wheels have already gone. These are on temporary wheels, actually. Expansion tank's gone. Someone's asked for the roof. I've got someone coming to get some bits off it, excuse me, at the weekend. So don't like breaking cars, but sometimes you've got to do it, because it's not financially viable to put this car right, especially when I've got other cars where it is, if spending £600 to £1,000 doing the belts on Poseidon is worth it, because that car is a valuable car. So yeah, I will get some hate for it. I already have got some hate for it, but needs must. Need the space. It's blocking up that space. The car shouldn't really be there, if I'm honest. So we need to be mindful of that. So I am going to head down the road, and we'll go and have a look at a couple of cars that we haven't seen for a little while. So 2 decisions have got to be made really quickly in the new year. Decision on this one is what to do with it. So engine seized, head gaskets knackered, cylinder heads cracked. Brand new cylinder head for one of these, £1,500, gasket £108, plus an unknown quantity of labour. So I've got to decide what to do with this car very soon. Don't know, a lot of money to spend out. They're not that valuable. £8,000 if we get it running. 3, 4, 5 if not. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, and you might not sell it as well, because the market for these cars. These cars are nearly 100 years old. The people who like these cars are not quite 100 years old, but getting that way. So, you people in the 70s and 80s who would have remembered these on the roads when they were new. It's a shame. I'm just not. It's not a car I can get enthusiastic about. I'm more sort of 1960s, maybe 1950s stuff onwards. Vintage stuff. I'm afraid it just doesn't float my boat because they're not that usable. You can't drive these cars every day. You just haven't got the brakes. You haven't got the power. So I will do a final video on this car at some point. It'll probably be, you know, this is what I've decided to do. If anyone's interested, that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm still mulling it over. I think I've made my decision, but I'll reveal that in another video. What's more exciting, however, is this car is on a trailer. So Bram, as you can see, is sporting Mini Cooper wheels. There's a reason for that. That's because these little pods here are going to get welded up, so you can see they're a bit crusty and horrible in there, which we didn't know until we took the wings off. So Austin's got me some of those from a donor car, and my usual body shop unfortunately is exceedingly busy, and they can't see Bram until March, so hopefully I've got someone else lined up. I just need them to come and have a look and then get the car delivered. So it's all ready to go. Just need to find the person who's going to do the weldings. Hopefully I've got someone local who can do it. But yeah, I'm super excited to get this car back on the road because I love Bram, and it's a car that I nearly sold a couple of times and then thought better of it. And it's been, wow, yeah, the last time I drove this car was before anyone even knew about it. So it was the MG 100 Rover 120 photo shoot. So yeah, Austin was there, Dan Hooper obviously one of the organisers, Rob, all those guys. So yeah, that was the last time I drove this car, and I brought it in here for MOT, and it's been here ever since. We've been waiting for the body shop, but of course they're just stacked out with work. They've lost a lot of space down there, and I do like using TP, but they're stacked. They've got fleet work, and good for them. It's really good that an Aylesbury business is doing well. That's what we all want. So Bram, you will see again on the channel very soon, I hope, fingers crossed. So yeah, they're the sort of short-term things. Medium term, it's really probably getting Kestrel done and out the door, but probably will sell that one on, because my ambition really is to get a Vitesse. If I can get a Vitesse in kind of similar condition, that would be perfect. Not needing that much work, but a project worth. There's no point in buying a pristine car. I've got a pristine car in my daily. I don't need another one. So yeah, that's the sort of, yeah. So get Kestrel gone. The MGZs will stay. I'm absolutely committed to that. So that's the ZT, the ZS, which I wasn't too sure what I was going to do with the ZS. That's going to stay, and then the ZR will get done at some point. Hopefully back end of this year, if not next year. But we'll do some bits. Probably do the stripping out at some point, because that's something that can be done. Doesn't really cost anything other than time and space. But we need to get the other cars done first, so that we've got the space. I've got the space to kind of catalogue and box everything up and put stuff on shelves, so we know exactly where it is, because I want as much of the original parts of Biomorphic to go back in as possible. And then yeah, other projects this year. I'm sort of mulling over whether to do. I've got to get a few things done first. There's no way I'm going to take anything on at the moment. I probably uttered the famous last words that a lot of people do, and something will get offered to me in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I will take something else on at some point this year. Hopefully a Vitesse, but possibly something sort of another 1990s car. I've only got one 90s car, which is Bram. Obviously everything else is early 2000s and then the Kestrel's late 60s, so it'd be nice to do something sort of maybe 80s 90s. So I haven't done a car of that age for a while. The last 80s car I had was a classic Mini 10-12 years ago. Phew, bloody hell, that time's gone. So but anyway, thank you for watching. This is just a little flavour of what's going to be coming up. So Poseidon series, just to recap, Poseidon series, and then ZS, a few episodes on that, getting that back up to scratch. Bram will bring you some content on pretty soon. There'll be the usual test drives, car shows, all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much for watching during 2024. Look forward to having your comments and responses in 2025. Once again, a happy new year to you. May your 2025 be whatever you want it to be. And I'll see you again very soon on the next episode of Beards and Bangers. Goodbye.